Hello Zimbabweans, welcome back to our online lessons, A-level Pro Mathematics, and say John. Today guys, we're moving on to transformation of graphs, right? So consider the graph of y is equals to x squared. I'm sure guys, murikuziva magraphs enyu, right? Kana tichiita transformation, unofana kunge uchiziva macaves ako macaves anofana kunge achigadzikana nemunhu wese. Graph of y is equals to x squared, y is equals to x cubic, y is equals to ln x, y is equals to e to the power x, y is equals to 1 over x. Iwawo magraphs iwayo anofana macommon graphs anofana kungozikanwa nemunhu wese, anofana kugara uchiwaziva because ndo atichange tichishandisa kana takuita matransformations akasiyana siyana, right? So patransformation tine translation, we have stretch, we have reflection, right? But transformation of graphs, right? So panapa tichatanga netranslation, but chekutanga unofana kuziva kuti what is translation. Kana tichiti kutranslata tikureve we are moving the object. Kana iri translation yekuenda kupositive x direction, tiri kumova object kubva sei panapa ichienda positive x direction iri straight, that's translation in the positive x direction. Then translation in the negative x direction, move us straight into the negative x direction. Then translation in the positive y direction, we are moving the object straight in the y direction. Then translation straight downwards, right? Do you know the translation here? Do translation. Saka panapa, consider the graph of y is equals to x squared. This is the graph of y is equals to x squared. The graph of y is equals to x squared. If we draw the graph of y is equals to f of x plus 2, right? Ndofunga kuti kana wakapiwa graph ra y is equals to x squared, takaita mafunctions, right? So ukazonzi find f of x plus 2 squared, f of x plus 2 is zvirapa izvangufana nezvirapa izvi, but inyaya kuti pano apa panga paina x tareplace na x plus 2, which means zvangufana negraph rekunzi y is equals to x plus 2 squared, because tangoreplace panga paina x tikaisa x plus 2, so tinongoreplace pana x toisa x plus 2. Saka izvi zvangofanana nezvizvi, y is equals to x plus 2 squared, right? Saka tikadraw graph iri patakaita topic ye-curve sketching, topic ye-curve sketching tikada kudraw curve iri after tacomplete square. This is the graph rine turning point -2 na 0, this -2 na 0, right? So graph iri rinomubva rakadai so, then ichino when x is equals to 0, y is equals to 4, which means no kada y x is pana 4, because when x is equals to 0, now y x is 2 squared is 4, y is equals to 4. So rine y intercept 4 and turning point -2 na 0, right? Tikada kuti tisatatora zvetranslation ika transformation, wangotasa curve iri wakaita curve sketching yekuma-quadratic area, unofanira kungoziva kuti curve iri after tacomplete square to draw sei, right? So ukatarisa graph iri tikaricompare neriri, because apa ndo parakabva richizoya apa, tikacompare graph ra y is equals to x squared negraph ra y is equals to f of x plus 2, tinyazoona kuti iri ringori the same graph, but this is the same graph as this one, but rava everything shifted 2 units to the left. Thus we can write as a general rule that the graph of f of x plus a, right? Because pana paranga f of x y is equals to x squared. So f of x plus 2 tango translate tamove graph redu 2 units ichienda ku negative x direction, right? Noti panga pana 2, graph redu rabva pana 0 rega pana -2. Saka tikaisawo a panapa, in general if we put a now, graph redu ringoramba riri rimwe, but rinenge ramove 2 units kuenda ku negative x direction. So if we put a here, that's the general rule. The graph of f of x plus 2 is translation of a units in the negative x direction. Because the graph iranga ranzi plus 2 panapa ndobva ramove richiya ku negative, right? So ukapiwa rimwe mangwana rinenge kanzi x minus 2 panapa, tikada kuriplota graph ra x minus 2 ukaisa minus 2 panapa rinenge rine turning point, graph ra y is equals to x minus 2 squared. Ukarisketcha graph iri rinenge rine turning point pana 2 na 0, saka rinenge riri kuno, saka rinenge rine everything chaitwa shifted 2 units in the positive x direction ukachitarisa. So in general the graph of f of x plus a, kana pana apane plus, graph redu ndinogara kuona tiri kumuvha chienda kunegative number of units dzinenge dziri apa. So in general we say a, right? Kana pane negative, it's translation of 2 units in the positive. So kana pane negative toenda positive, kana pane positive toenda negative in general, right? So chasara ndikuti tichitranslate macurves manje, because now taakuziva translation. Saka kudescribe a transformation ukauya ukanzi f of x is equals to, then uzonzi y is equals to f of x plus 2. Wakufana kuziva kuti translation yaitika apa ine maunits api in which direction, right? Alright, so tisatenda pamatranslation, tisatanga kutranslate macurves, because you can't translate macurves ausingazivi. So chekutanga graph ra y is equals to x squared ndatokudza yaka y is equals to x squared ndo rakadai so iri y is equals to x squared, right? Zvakaita so, then y is equals to x cubic, y is equals to x cubic rakadai so, it's like zvakaita so, graph ra y is equals to x cubic, right? So unofanira kugara uchiziva macurves aya, because common curves anofanira kugara chizikanwa, because ndo atichange tichitranslate nekushifta atichange tichistretcha nekutranslate nekureflect, right? So graph ra y is equals to ln x, y is equals to ln x, y is equals to ln x, yeah, y is equals to ln x, right. Rine asymptote, the y-axis is the asymptote, but graph ra y is equals to ln x, because when x is equals to 0, muno y-axis no, when x is equals to 0, ln 0 undefined. So graph redu are exist mu x is equals to 0. So this curve rino approach the y-axis, but are no cut the x-axis, no approach, but no zosvika panapa ringi rava kuna infinity, right? So ndosaka panapa tikuda error ukati ln 0 inenge yava graph redu inenge rava kuna infinity. So rine asymptote panapa, but cheke tichizotranslate macurves aya tinoshifta the asymptote tichimova, right? So right, so you're going to draw a curve ra y is equals to x squared, y is equals to x cubic, y is equals to ln x, right? So tasaka the curve ra y is equals to e to the x. Saka curve ra y is equals to e to the x ringori inverse re graph ra y is equals to ln x, because graph ra y is equals to ln x ranga richifamba so tichidaiwa, right? So anenge ane mirror line pakati panapa y is equals to x, right? So graph ra e to the power x ndakaipana 1, graph ra e to the power x ndakaipana 1, then ra ln x ndakaona nepana 1, right? But my inverse macurves aya, right? So ndinotadza kudrowa zvangu zvakanaka, but ndio zvakaita graph ra ln x. Then rino iri ra e to the power x rine rinono approach the x axis, but rino touch the x axis, right? Because the x axis rinonzi y is equals to 0. Saka when y is equals to 0, graph redu are exist, because if you say 0 is equals to e to the power x, which is the value of x, nofana kuti ln, so but not ln 0 kuno, so vaita error, right? So when y is equals to 0, graph ra e to the power x are exist. Then ra ln x, y is equals to ln x, when x is equals to 0 are exist, right? So graph ra e to the power x rine asymptote x axis, ra ln x rine asymptote y axis. Then rine ra y is equals to 1 over x, rine asymptote 2. When x is equals to 0, if we put 0 here, y is equals to 1 over 0, which is error, right? So when y is equals to 0 foot, when y is equals to 0 foot, put 0 up, into 0 is equals to 1 over x. If you multiply both sides na x, divided 0 is equals to 1, which which doesn't make sense. So graph redu are exist when y is equals to 0, are exist foot when x is equals to 0. That's why I name asymptotes 2. Are cut x-axis, are cut the y-axis, right? So ma asymptotes aya ndio atichange tichimova kana takutranslate. Katika curve redu rakatranslate in 2 units positive x direction, we move this asymptote 2 units in the positive x direction. Kanzi curve redu rakamova 2 units downwards, tomove asymptote kubva apa 2 units richidzira kuzasi. Tingamove asymptote macurve anokutevera akangosekerawo ma asymptotes, right? So given that y is equals to f of x, sketch on separate diagrams the graphs of item 1 f of x plus 2, right? Ndikukatamboita curve x squared ranga rakazonzi find f of x plus 2 tikati this is translation of 2 units in the negative x direction, right? Kana zviri mukati like this, it's in the x direction, this is x direction, but kana pane plus tinenge tichienda ku negative, kana pane minus tinenge tichienda ku positive. So first unofana kugona ku describe a transformation, right? So this is translation 2 units in the negative x direction. So graph redu iri riri translate 2 units in the negative x direction, riri kumove 2 units rienda kana kuti leftwards, translation of 2 units leftwards, right? So to not translate a curve redu iri. So tichabata ma points as this point icha move ne 2 units ichienda ku negative, saka ikamove ne 2 units dzokera uku inoenda pana -3 here, right? This point iyi iri pana 0 na 2, 0 kuna x na 2 kwa y, icha move 2 units inda ku negative x direction, saka 2 affect 2 both at sikukwira tukuenda uku, saka ticha affect 0 ari panapa pane ma coordinates kuti 0 na 2, right? So ticha move 0 at this point tichabva yabva pana 0 apo yobva yamove 2 units inda pana -2, saka point icha move kubva pana 0 panapa inda pana -2, but hai tinoramba iri 2 because tiri kuenda ku x direction, saka -2 na 2 ndo patichasvika. Then this point ichamubva ibva pana 3 yobva 2 units dzoka kumashure inobva yaenda pana 2, inobva yaenda pana 1 because tamubva 2 units. So we're just subtracting 2 here, we're just subtracting 2 here and subtracting 2 here. Saka kuma coordinates x ese we just subtract by number of units dzatiri kumove nadzo. Saka -1 -2 tuenda pana -3, then 0 panapa -2 tukuenda pana -2, then 3 panapa -2 tukuenda pana 1. Inokuto plota ma points ako pakutozwa curve rako unotoona rakato translate simbuka, then takuenda apa, right? So item 2, f of x minus 2, right? This is translation of 2 units rightwards in the positive x direction, right? Positive x direction. So which implies that we are adding kuma x coordinates ese we are adding 2 units kuma x coordinates, ma y coordinates atiwabate tinongosiya kadaro toenda kuma x coordinates. Saka panapa this is -1 na 0, this is 3 na 0. So ma y coordinate tinosiya kadaro, then we add 2 to the x coordinates. So tikamove 2 panapa tinowana 1, right? Tinowana 1. So curve redu changira kubeka pana 1 pana 1 na 0, right? This point tika add 2 pana 0 with 0 the x coordinate. If we add 2 inoenda pana 2 na 2, saka 2 and 2 panapa, right? Ndoparotena napo, right? So toya futi panapa x coordinate 3, we add 2 plus 3 we get 5 na 0, right? Then 5 na 0, right? Saka graph redu richange rakadai so, right? Zvachange rangoita so rango translatewa 2 units richienda ku positive x direction, ndo yatinoti translation. Tingomove every x coordinate tiri kuiadda 2 units tichienda ku positive x direction, saka ndo translation yeku x axis. Saka now let's move on to translation yeku y direction, right? So these two translation taita tapedza nadzo guys. F of x plus a, kana pane plus apa tikuenda ku negative x, kana pane minus tikuenda ku positive x. Now takuya apa 3 and 4, f of x plus a is translation of a units in the positive y direction. Saka maona pa zvakusiyana manje now, kana tiri ku translation ine plus pa apa, it's panapa it's f of x then yozoti plus a, then kuno kuti f of x plus a. Saka apanda kubato kusatenda kumbera. Given for example f of x is equals to x squared, right? Zvikazonzi f of x plus a is zvangufane kuti pana x taisa x plus a, saka kuno pana x tukisa wachi x plus a, saka zvinenge zvafana kuti x plus a squared. So izvofana kunzwisika izvo. Tinoona weya ukanzi sketch the graph of y is equals to x plus a squared. Saka zvinoda kuti zvinzwisike. Given saka for example find konzi given f of x is equals to x squared konzi sketch the graph of f of x plus 4, right? Is takuziva kuti describe because taona transformation panapa kuti it's translation of 4 units in the negative x direction, right? Saka kana ta replace x na x plus 4 which is equals pana x vokuno right hand side we replace by x plus 4, saka x plus 4 squared. And this graph you can draw it. It's translation of 4 units in the negative x direction. Saka ukapewa rakadai so unofana kugona kudraw. Ukapewa zvakapewa zviri in terms of f unokwanisa kugona futi draw, right? Saka musiyano wacho manje we translation amunati panapa kuti panga paina x we replace by x plus 4, saka we replace by x plus 4. But kana yava yepa y manje pazviri kusiyana ndepe kudai so pazviri kunosiyana yekuna y yava kuti iyo f of x plus 4, which means f of x akamira yega tozoedda 4 kumberi, saka kuno kuti zvive true zvinzani decide just say x squared do f of x plus 4 ndo masiyendera zvaita manje neku x axis ndekwa x axis inoyaisa x plus 4 panapa iyi inozoisa plus 4 kumberi kwa f of x, saka iyi manje ndo inenge iri translation of 4 units positive y direction ndizoka, right? So pane opposite yacho ndepekuti kana ine positive ku translation yekwa x inenge ichinda ku negative, asi kana ine positive kuna y inenge ichinda ku positive, saka kuna y hakuna opposite iriko. F of x minus a is translation of a units in the negative y direction, saka kuna y hakuna opposite. Kana iri negative panapa iri minus 4 just go downwards, kana iri plus 4 upwards, but kuno kana iri plus 4 leftwards, kana iri minus rightwards. So right, so given that y is equals to f of x ndinotamushandisa previously, right? So sketch on separate diagrams the graphs of y is equals to f of x plus 2, right? Plus 2, saka kana ina plus 2 kumberi so it's in the y direction. So describe the transformation first. This is translation of 2 units upwards or translation of 2 units in the positive y direction. So we are moving each and every point 2 units upwards. So this point minus 1 is 0, this minus 1 over x, 0 over y. So we are adding 2 up, and we are adding 2 up, we are adding 2 up. Ma coordinates awo atawana ndio atakutunota takuto sketch a graph ready. Saka if we add 2 panap we get minus 1 and 2, this is minus 1 and 2. If we add 2 panap we get 0 and 4, this is 0 and 4. If we add 2 panap 0 panap we get 3 and 2, this is 3 and 2. Saka a wedu anenge ava point b apa c apa. So graph ready longa namba ready zvari. Saka tangori tiona ngatangori kwidza mudenga ne 2 units. That's translation in the positive y direction. Takuita translation in the negative y direction. Okay, so translation in the negative y direction, right? This is translation of 2 units downwards or in the negative y direction, right? So every y coordinate to move 2 units downwards. So that we subtract every y coordinate. We subtract minus 2. We subtract 2. So panapa if we say 0 minus 2, no one minus 2 per y coordinate. Then minus 1 over x at party because this translation is for y. So minus 1 and minus 2. Then to have per point b. 2 minus 2, 2 no y coordinate now. 2 minus 2 to 0. So 0 na 0 because x coordinate not 0. Then this point c. This point c, take a subtract 2 from 0, we get 3 and minus 2, both 0 and minus 2 and minus 2. So 3 and minus 2, right? So graph redu chango move, point a cha move 2 units ichizira. Saka a cha ya pana. Yango move ne 2 units ichizira sasa. Then b ya move ne 2 units pana pana 2, ichi pana 0. Saka b nenge ya pana. Then c cha move only 2 units ichizika. Saka c cha ya pa point pana. Saka a b c. Saka graph redu rango move 2 units downwards. Those the translation e and they stretch. Right? The graph of a f of ax is the stretch scale factor 1 over a in the x direction, right? So ndomba pamaona translation paipa kutati tikati plus tinenda ku negative, tikati minus tinenda ku positive. Tavya kuti ku stretch zvekwa x foot zvingori ne opposite. panapa is stretch scale factor 1 over a, which means kana pana 2 scale factor 1 over 2, kana pana 5 scale factor 1 over 4, which means you take the reciprocal in number inenge up reciprocal, right? Saka ndoka opposite kariko kuna x ikako ndo scale factor, which means we are multiplying each and every x coordinate by 1 over a, right? We are multiplying by 1 over a. Then kana pana 2x, we are multiplying each and every x coordinate na 1 over 2, right? Simple. Then kuna y kwagara kuna zvibingi, kana tichingori na a scale factor ndi a, kana tichingori na plus a scale factor translation of a units upwards, kana pana plus, kana pana negative downwards, right? Saka kunoku y ana problem. Saka the graph of f of x is stretch scale factor a in the y direction, right? So kana factor equals, for example, 2 as multiply f of x is scale ndekwa y axis, then kana a wacho ari mukati sezvizvi achi multiply x direct inenge iri kwa x, right? Tikatione kuti pamacaves acho zvechimira sei, right? So next example, if there's so sketch on separate diagrams the graphs of item 1 2 f of x. Saka 2 kana ari kunze is stretch scale factor 2 in the y direction, which means we are multiplying each and every y coordinate by 2, right? Saka ma coordinates tinawo panapa. Saka point a y coordinate is 0. If you multiply 0 na 2 nongoramba tiri pana minus 1 na 0 azvichinje, right? Then panapa tine 0 na 2 y coordinate ndi 2 panapa. Saka tika multiply y coordinate 2 na 2 inobva yaita 4. Saka tunoenda pana 0 na 4. Then this y coordinate is 0, multiply y coordinate by 2 nongoramba tiri pana 3 na 0. Saka ma coordinates apa achinja, but inochinja ndiye kuno, which means graph yedu riri kustretcha. Kwatiri kuti kustretcha, kana vanoziva zvendhandi zverekeni dzedzi ukaida so ndiko kustretcha ndi. Saka tiri kustretcha graph yedu takatibata panapa ichikwira mudenga, but kuno kwakaramba kwakangotacha the x axis, because kuno kwatisi kutisera ndai so because ndezve kwa y axis. Saka tiri kubata apa tobata kumusoro kuti stretcha tinda mudenga so. Saka tiri kustretcha kubva pana 2 kuna 4, right? That's why tida graph yedu rawedzera height, but length yekuno isingachinje. No stretch in the y direction, tungori stretch la mudenga ndo inonzi stretch. Then panapa is stretch of 2 units, it's stretch of scale factor 1 over 2, scale factor half in the x direction, which means we are multiplying each and every x coordinate by 1 over 2. Kana kuti we are dividing each and every x coordinate by 2. We are dividing x coordinates by 2 and multiplying by 1 over 2. This zvangofanana, right? So tika divide panapa kwa tika multiply minus 1 ndo x coordinate, tika multiply na half tona minus half, tika multiply 3 na half tona 3 over 2, tika multiply 0 panapa the x coordinate na half nongoramba 3 patatiri. Saka in this case kuwaya kusikuchinja, tiri kungochinja ku x chete because stretch ndiye ku x. Saka graph redu richabva ratakucompressa, so richabva rastretch richidzoka mukati. So this is our graph, right? Saka tauda kuenda apa, right? So y is f of 1 over 2 x, 1 over 2 x is stretch scale factor 2, right? Because panapa kana iri mukati tati ndiye kwa x, so tinotora reciprocal yenamba irapo, reciprocal ya half ndi 2. Saka f of half x is scale factor 2 in the x direction. Saka tiri kuaffecta ma x coordinate, we are multiplying each and every x coordinate by 2, right? So if we multiply minus 1 na 2 tukona minus 2, then panapa tika multiply 0 na 2 nona 0. Saka this coordinate pana b noramba chingori pana b papo. Then panapa if we multiply 3 na 2 nona 6. Saka panapa graph redu richawedzera ku straight richida ku this direction, right? Saka chaya pana minus 2 chaya kuna 6, but kuno kunoramba kwakadaro because stretch ndiye ku x direction. Saka graph redu rinongowedzera kakufara so, right? So panapa is stretch scale factor half. Kana iri kwa y unotora sezvairi, panapa 2 scale factor 2, panapa scale factor half. Yekunawo x ndine inoita zvima opposite, saka scale factor half. Saka which means we are multiplying each and every y coordinate by half, kana kuti we are dividing y coordinates by 2, right? So panapa y coordinate panapa ndi 0. So if we multiply 0 na half nongoramba tiri pana 0. Then panapa coordinate yekwa y ndi 0, if we multiply na half nongoramba tiri pana 0. Saka the x axis harisi kuaffecta because stretch ndiye ku y axis. Saka stretch yedu ichapisira yakuaffecta chi this the y panapa na 0 na 2 saka 2 times half ndobva taona 1 kana kuti 2 divided by 2 which is 1 saka panapa tienda pana 0 na 1 saka graph redu richangoita kakukompreswa so richidzika so pari kuno kwakangodaro saka that's stretch yekuna x yekuna y direction saka ndo stretch guys saka hande pa reflection, right? So now reflection, the graph of minus f of x is reflection mirror line x axis, mirror line x axis, right? So mukatarisa manje kuno manje zvikuita opposite zvese. Mukatarisa reflection inoita opposite ne stretch, reflection ino opposite ne stretch. Paya patatu ku stretch chiti a f of x, a panga ari kunze yanga iri stretch scale factor a in the y direction kana a ari kunze, but now kana negative ari kunze ku reflection zvinoreva kuti ndeye ku x axis, mirror line x axis, right? Then ku stretch kuna x axis apa zvikuita opposite zvese x na y. Patati chiti susu f of ax yanga iri scale factor 1 over a in the x direction, but now x negative ava mukati pana x yava reflection mirror line y axis. Saka ukaziva stretch watoziva reflection, because stretch kana number iri kunze ndiye kwa y, kana number iri kunze iri mukati ndiye kwa x, but kana sign iri kunze ndiye kwa x, kana sign iri mukati ndiye kwa y. Saka opposite iri pa stretch ne reflection. Simple. Saka tokuita two examples, right? So sketch on separate on separate diagrams the graphs of y is equals panapa, it's y is equals minus e to the power x, y is equals minus e to the power of x, right? So apa manje apa ndipo unofanira kunge uchiri kuziva kuti graph ra y is equals to e to the power x risati rava reflection, risati rava stretch, risati rava translate rakambodii. Ndopana chiti you should know ma common graphs, because avavi vakakupa graph unoya vakangopiwa kuti sketch the graphs of y is equals to minus e to the power x. Uri kunzi reflector graph ra e to the power x rausingazive, ndopandengera ma1 yese neexam. Saka gara uchiziva kuti graph ra e to the power x rakadai so. Now rakunzi ra reflector but negative e iri kunze, saka negative iri kunze, which means mirror line is x axis, right? Mirror line x axis, which means kana mirror line riri x axis zvese zviri kuonekwa above the x axis zvinenge zvakureflectwa zvichionekwa zviri below the x axis, right? So unofanira kuziva kuti the distance between the image and the mirror line inofanira kunge yakafanana nedistance from original to mirror line. Saka distance yekubva pa original kusvika pa mirror line inofanira kufanana neyekubva pa mirror line kusvika pa image, right? Zvakafanana nepanapa distance yacho yekubva panapa pa original kusvika pa mirror line inofanira kubva pa mirror line kusvika pa image, saka panapa panenge pana minus 1. Then distance yekuno inofanira kufanana nechi yekubva apa kusvika pa mirror line inofanira kubva pa mirror line kusvika pa image, saka graph redu rozomira like sezvizvi. Saka zvese zviri above zvinenge zvakuonekwa kuzasi like zviri pano apa izvi, zvese zviri above the x axis zviri kuonekwa below the x axis, but distance yakangofanana, right? Ndo zviri apa izvi, ndo reflection mirror line x axis, right? Then panapa y is equals to e to the minus x to the negative x. E, this is a reflection mirror line y axis, because negative yedu iri kuaffect x directly, so mirror line y axis, which means pa graph redu ra y is equals to e to the x iri zviri kuonekwa kuside uku kwe y axis zvinenge zvakuonekwa ku left, zviri ku left zvinenge zvakuonekwa ku right, right? Ndizvo zvari manje. So zvese zviri kuside uku zvinoreflectwa zvotanga kuonekwa kuno, but distance yekubva apa kuya apa neifanira kubva apo kuya, saka regioreflector inodai so this zvinoreflecta original rirakurewa. Zvese zviri kunoku zviza kureflecta zvionekwa uku, zviri kunoku zviri kureflecta zvionekwa uku, zvinotobuditsira graph rakaita seriri, right? So simple apo unofanira kuziva kuti mirror line rako nderipi, saka izvi zvinouya uku, izvi zvinoenda uku, because mirror line ndo riri pakati apa, saka ndo reflection iyi. Saka hatindepa ma examples anosanganisa zvinhu zvakawanda, right? So y is equals to ln x plus 1 ndokunga itangwa takaita seriri translation 1 into negative x direction. So tinomove the asymptote kana iri translation the negative x direction tinomove asymptote redu ranga riri panapa. This is the original graph y is equals to lean x, right? Saka asymptote ndi y axis. Saka we move the y axis asymptote. Kana translator tinongomove asymptote number of terms dzakaenderana neze translation. Saka asymptote redu ichamove kubva apa toda pana -1. Saka asymptote redu ichaya pana -1, right? Saka now y axis pa graph iri, y axis is no longer in asymptote because when x is equals to 0, when x is equals to 0, graph redu no exist now. Graph redu no exist. Bizoka paraivaririra y is equals to lean x. When x is equals to 0, graph redu rasinga exist because lean 0 hakuna. But now ravara x plus 1, saka tikesa 0 apa nda 0 plus 1, which is lean is 1, which is 0, ino exist. Saka x is equals to 0 is no longer in asymptote, right? Saka asymptote redu rava pana -1. Saka graph redu riri kumuva kubva apa 1 unit ichidzokera upo. Ndizoka saka asymptote ichamuva 1 unit. Saka iro parachikata nepana 1 rinenge rakukata nepana 0. Saka rinenge rakukata nepana redu ngambarizo rariri patrango kata pana 0, then asymptote rava pana -1. Then next this one tichamuva asymptote tichinda 1 unit tichinda side. Saka curve redu parachikata the x axis pana 1 rinenge rakumuva rinokata nepana 2. To pana 2 pana apa here, right? So asymptote redu rinenge rava pana 1. Saka graph redu richakati the asymptote, the new asymptote new one rava x is equals to 1, right? So the next curve, item 3, lean x plus 2e. This is 2 units upwards. Translation 2 units upwards, right? So we are moving this point. This point is 1 is 0 and 1 and 0. So if we move this point upwards, to create 2 units up. So tikaita 2 units pa y coordinate, inoti 0 plus 2 tota pana 1 na 2. Saka 1 na 2 nepana apa. Saka rinenge rakukata nepano apa. Saka tinenge takudraw curve redu rakadai so. Asymptote haichinji because we are moving upwards, right? So graph redu richaita sezvita ngotora graph redu but richiftra upwards, right? So this is our new graph, right? Tapinda paneri, right? So this graph y is equals to lean x minus 2. Translation 2 units downwards, right? So graph redu original way riri kumove 2 units downwards. Saka this coordinate, this y coordinate ichamove ne 2 units ichidzira. Saka tosubtract 2 up, 0 minus 2 cheta pana -2, then x acharamba akadaro. Saka 1 na -2, right? 1 na -2. Saka graph redu rikadzira kuno, which means point iri somewhere pano apa ndo inenge yakanonangana ndi panapa. Ndizoka saka ringira kukata somewhere pamberi panapa. Saka 1 anosara pasina chinhu because pakanangana 1 kumusoro kuno kuna graph. Saka pana 1 panongosara pasina chinhu, panongosara pana 1, right? Saka graph redu rinenge rakuzokata nepamberi pa 1 pacho, right? That value unokwanisa kuiwana kana ukadzokera pa graph rako ukanoti when y is equals to 0 unobva wawana that value, right? So rinotevera iri, it is reflection mirror line x axis, reflection mirror line x axis. So graph redu the original iri, graph redu the original rino reflector zvanga zviri below the x axis nenda above, zvanga zviri above nenda below. Saka this each inouya kuzasi, then each inoenda kumusoro. Saka each inozoya kuzasi like this, then each inozoenda kumusoro like this. Saka ta reflector graph redu about the mirror line x axis, zvanga zviri kumusoro zvichienda kuzasi, zviri kuzasi zvichienda kumusoro. Then this one y is equals to lean minus x, minus ari pana x, saka mirror line y axis, right? So zviri kuno ku right hand side zvino reflector zvoya ku left hand side. Saka graph redu sezvariri rinongo reflectwa roya ku left hand side, but panga paina 1 pane pana -1 like this. Graph redu rangobva kuno pa reflector ka x side, panga paina 1 pazoenda pana -1. So this is a reflection and translation, right? So sketch the graph of y is equals to 1 over x plus 2, y is equals to 1 over x plus 2. So this is translation 2 units in the negative x direction, right? Translation of 2 units in the negative x direction. So item 1, we are moving our graph 2 units in the negative x direction. Saka tiri kumove asymptote. In the original graph, y is equals to 1 over x in the row here, right? So tiri kumove asymptote kubva apa kuenda pana -2. So asymptote yedu ichabva apa kuenda pana -2 here. So our asymptote is equals to x is equals to -2. Saka graph redu rinongoteverawo asymptote, but tinofanira kutsvaka value apa kuti y-axis when x is equals to 0, when x is equals to 0, y is equals to 1 over 2. Saka panapa graph redu kukata y-axis when y is equals to 1 over 2. Right? Then item 2, y is equals to 1 over x plus 2. Y-axis ichangoramba re asymptote because when x is equals to 0, graph redu are existing. Like like panapa the x-axis rangoramba re asymptote panapa because when y is equals to 0, graph redu are exist because you multiply this term na 0 to 0 is equals to 1. That makes sense, right? So panapa y-axis richaramba re asymptote. Then this is translation of 2 units in the positive y direction because f of x plus 2 is translation of 2 units upwards. Saka tiri kumova asymptote 2 units upwards. Saka asymptote redu yava up, repair up. Rizoka. So graph richangomova or richiteera the asymptote. Then rinoramba richi rakamteera asymptote rakadai so. Then kuno rakadai so. Right? So this is how you sketch my rational graphs. Kana any translation, you just move the asymptote number of terms takataurwa ne graph racho. So panapa kana dziri 2 units in the negative x direction, move asymptote 2 units in the leftwards. Kana dziri 2 units upwards, just move the asymptote 2 units upwards. But you must know kuti this graph need 2 asymptote, the x-axis and the y-axis. Saka unofana kuziva which asymptote to move. Unomove asymptote repa x-axis here upwards or ripi racho. Right? So next example. Right? So given y is equals to x minus 1 over x. This is just an improper fraction. Saka mangwana muno kwa rimwe rinenge kanzi x minus 1 over x minus 2. Saka apa in this case nokwanisa kusimplify this really is kungoti x over x 1 1. What minus 1 over x 1 minus 1 over x. But kuri kutora zoera na x minus 1 na x minus 2. Unofana kuziva the method moshanda, this is the method of long division to simplify. Unowana 1 minus 1 over x. Right? Then unofana to describe a transformation from here. Pane reflection was 1 over x. This is f of x in the negative ari kunze. Saka pane reflection mirror line x-axis. So graph redu original tika reflect about the mirror line x-axis. This part is above the x-axis chinoya pasasi like this. Then this part is below the x-axis chinoya kumusoro like this. So this is after reflection. But the result of the original graph the final the final one rinenge rarova reflection rarova futi translation. So after that follows where translation of 1 unit upwards, right? So after reflection, after that, so that translation of 1 unit upwards, because this is a round funny with not minus 1 over x to be sabato but plus 1 was round fanana, right? So we have it asymptote redu chapa up up to one asymptote redu pana 1. So graph redu richangomove out asymptote parangomove richangodenga graph rongomove richera asymptote then iri nongomove out repamusoro pe asymptote. Saka nombara yakadai so yakadai so to define our graph. Saka iri ndora riri chide hatizode iri. Unofana kuzama stages ako chete kuti rinobva pa reflection rozoya pa translation. Saka kana uchi describe a transformation, uno describe as zviri na x first minus utanga kuti dane reflection uzone kana plus zviri kure uchienda. Right? So last example. Cool. Right? So these are just my rational function, right? So given y is equals to x squared plus 4x plus 2, right? Only sketch got express this in the form x plus a squared plus b, right? Expressed in this form. That hence describe the geometric transformations from this numerical graph redu from x is y is equals to x squared to graph of y is equals to x squared plus 4x plus 2, right? Saka chekutanga complete a square. This form is completing the square, and after that complete a square yaku describe a transformation. Saka kuti uskete graph rakadai so unokwanisa kushandisa zvese kuti complete a square wototsvaka pa 10 points wototsvaka kuti y intercept wototora graph rako kana kushandisa transformation. Saka after wa complete a square unosvika up x plus 2 squared minus 2 like this, right? So what would describe a transformation? Unataka describe as a na x panapa. So panapa you just say this is translation of 2 units in the negative x direction, right? Followed by translation of 2 units in the negative y direction. Simple. After our computer square, then you have to draw the original curve wakutodraw this curve rakabva from x squared. Ukadraw graph y is equals to x squared, y is equals to x squared iri, ukatortranslate to unit negative x direction richabva rabva rovaiva na minus 2 apa. Ukazoridzikisa rinobva radzika rovaiva pazasi apa. Ukazotisketa graph iri rinenge rangofanana neiroro because rinenge rine minus 2 na minus 2 pa right. So ndo zvatinoreva. Then taya panapo y is equals to minus x squared plus 2x plus 6. Ukakombita square yako unobva wasvika apo. Saka panapo manje pane matransformations 3 yakaitika. Pakaitika reflection right in the mirror line x axis, paitika translation 1 unit positive x direction, paitika translation of 7 units upwards right. Ndio matransformations akaitika. Saka ukapewa curve, given a curve ukazi express in this form, hence describe a geometrical transformation, unofana kuzokwanisa kudescribe a transformation kubva apa right. Asi zvinhu zvakambooma izvi zvingori simple right. So guys, I think transformation ndo payaperera panapa. So apa guys, not that tiringoita ma lessons ekuti tiringokudzidzisa kuti how do you do it, but tichaita time tichazoweka ma tricky questions kuti mimi tichipa ma question enyu tichiweka ticha ma videos ekuweka ma question anenge achikunetsai. Saka in this videos tiringokudzidzisai kuti munoweka assignments. Saka tirikupa general idea kuti munzwisise maths zviri. Saka tine imwe channel, we have another channel inonzi yo H&J Online Academy right. Iyoyo we do my videos international right. This one this channel yemas vibe ndio yatiri kuita ma videos elocal ekubatsirana nemazimbabweans akawanda kuti tikwanise kuunderstand maths zviri easy. We are mixing languages pa this channel mas vibe, but this one H&J Online Academy apa tinopaita ma subjects akawanda. So mukaenda ipapo muchaona tichisa ma videos edu we economics, we teach pure mathematics, we teach mathematics dzeku O level or O level mathematics, A level mathematics and A level economics right. But panapa we are specializing in A level mathematics pure locally tichansa local language, but kuno it's international language. Panapa is international right. So guys, go and subscribe to our channels right. Go and subscribe to our channel. Nokutendera guys nekuramba muchitsigira nekuona ma videos edu. Mufana ngo subscribe waone kulike, musakangana kuti bata muchitibvunza message dzinonetsa. Number dzedu 0783183381. Thank you guys. Thank you.